Your body decides how you feel before your mind gets a vote. That sentence sounds like wellness fluff until you watch what happens inside a research lab when someone changes nothing except the angle of their spine. Every technique you've tried, the mirror affirmations, the visualization, the positive self-talk, enters through the slowest door in the building. And the fast door has been sitting right there in your ribcage the whole time. Think about the last time you were anxious, really anxious. Shoulders crept toward your ears, chest tightened, breathing climbed into the top inch of your lungs. You probably assumed that was a symptom, a side effect of the mental state, the body responding to the mind. Reasonable assumption, and almost entirely backwards. Researchers at the University of Hildesheim ran an experiment where participants held either upright or slumped postures while attempting to recall emotional memories. The upright group accessed positive memories faster, the slumped group defaulted to negative ones. Same people, same prompt, the only variable was the curve of their spine, and that single variable filtered which memories the brain decided to retrieve. Your posture was editing your past before you even opened your mouth to say an affirmation. So why does a repeated sentence in front of a mirror feel so weak compared to straightening your back? Because language enters through cognition. You hear the words, your analytical mind evaluates them, and if there's any gap between what you're saying and what you believe, that gap creates resistance. The phrase bounces off. You felt this, standing in front of a bathroom mirror, telling yourself you're confident while every cell in your body disagrees. That friction is measurable. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance, and it actually makes you feel worse when the affirmation clashes with your self-concept. The body bypasses that checkpoint entirely. A group of researchers in Columbia and Harvard ran studies where subjects held expansive postures, feet wide, arms open, chest lifted, for just 2 minutes. Testosterone shifted upward. Stress hormones dropped. The subjects reported feeling more powerful, took more risks in subsequent tasks. 2 minutes, no words, no journaling, no vision board. The body sent a chemical telegram to the brain, and the brain believed it without question. Now here's where this gets strange. The body doesn't just influence mood, it influences the speed at which states shift, and that speed difference is so dramatic it almost looks like a measurement error. Affirmations work through repetition. You say something enough times, across enough days, and eventually the belief starts to soften. Weeks, sometimes months. The timescale is geological by psychological standards. Breathing pattern changes, by contrast, alter your physiological state in under 90 seconds. That's the gap we're talking about. One method asks for patience measured in calendar pages, the other works before you finish reading this paragraph. Consider what happens when you deliberately slow your exhale. A longer exhale than inhale, say 4 seconds in, 7 seconds out, activates the vagus nerve. That nerve runs from your brainstem down through your chest and into your gut. When stimulated, it sends a direct signal that shifts your body out of stress physiology. Heart rate drops, blood pressure eases, digestion resumes. Your pupils actually change size. All of this cascades through your system before you formed a single conscious thought about calm. You can test this right now. Sit up, pull your shoulders back just enough that your chest opens. Take one breath where the exhale lasts twice as long as the inhale. One breath. Notice what shifts. The feeling that arrives isn't something you talked yourself into. It came through a different channel. Older, faster, and almost impossible to argue with. This is the channel that animals use. A dog shakes its whole body after a confrontation. Done. State reset. Prey animals literally tremor after escaping a predator, discharging the stress chemicals through muscular vibration. They don't journal about it. They don't process it cognitively. The body completes the cycle, and the animal walks away neurologically clean. Humans forgot how to do this. Or, more accurately, we learned to override it. We sit in chairs for 8 hours holding tension in our jaw and shoulders, breathing shallow loops into our upper chest, and then wonder why we can't think clearly. We treat the mental fog as a mind problem. We try to fix it with mind tools. Meanwhile, the body is screaming a signal we trained ourselves to ignore, somewhere around 2nd grade, when a teacher told us to sit still and be quiet. Breathing patterns do something that affirmations structurally cannot. They change the ratio of oxygen to carbon dioxide in your blood, which directly alters your blood pH, which directly alters how your neurons fire. The chain is mechanical. There's no belief required. You don't have to trust the process. You don't have to feel worthy of the change. Your blood chemistry doesn't care about your self-esteem. It responds to gas ratios with the same indifference a thermostat responds to temperature. This is why box breathing, 4 counts in, 4 counts hold, 4 counts out, 4 counts hold, became standard protocol in military training. Special operations units needed a tool that worked under conditions where positive thinking is a joke. When bullets are real and the stakes are mortal, you need a state shift that functions regardless of what your conscious mind is doing. Breathing was the answer, because breathing operates below the layer where doubt lives. Posture works through a parallel channel. When you collapse your chest and round your shoulders, you physically compress the space your lungs can expand into. Smaller breaths follow. Shallower patterns. The body reads its own geometry and concludes, we're small, we're threatened, we're conserving energy. The cascade runs automatically. Reverse the geometry, and you reverse the cascade. Open the chest, lift the sternum, let the shoulders drop back and down. The lungs expand further with each breath. The body reads the new shape and draws a new conclusion. The speed of this shift is almost absurd. It can take less time than reading a single affirmation aloud. There's a deeper layer here, and it starts with a question worth sitting with. Why did we collectively decide that the mind was the control center? Western culture built an entire framework on the assumption that thought drives, feeling drives behavior. Think positive, feel positive, act positive. The whole self-help industry runs on this architecture. But the research keeps pointing to a loop, and in that loop, the body has veto power, the mind doesn't. You can think a positive thought while hunched over a desk breathing 12 shallow breaths per minute, and the thought dissolves against the wall of physiology like rain against a windshield. The body wins ties every time. Yogic traditions figured this out thousands of years ago. Pranayama, structured breathing practice, predates written affirmation techniques by millennia. The practitioners didn't have fMRI machines or blood gas analyzers. They had attention and time. Enough of both to notice that controlling the breath controlled the mind far more efficiently than controlling the mind controlled the mind. They built entire contemplative systems around this observation, while Western psychology was still decades from being invented. Here's something that makes this even more practical. Posture and breathing are stackable. Change your posture and your breathing changes automatically. Deepen your breathing and your posture tends to straighten on its own. The two systems reinforce each other in a feedback loop that amplifies over minutes. Start with either one, the other follows. And this loop has a property that affirmations lack entirely. It's self-sustaining. An affirmation requires you to keep generating the thought. The moment you stop repeating it, the effect fades. A postural and breathing shift, once established, maintains itself through mechanical momentum. Your ribs stay open. Your breath stays deep. The chemical environment in your blood stays altered. You can turn your attention to something else entirely and the state holds. Critics push back on this, and fairly. They argue that posture studies have faced replication challenges, that the original power pose research was contested. They're right about the controversy. But the underlying mechanism, that body position alters interoceptive signals, which alter emotional processing, has survived the replication crisis with strong support across multiple independent labs. The specific hormone claims got weaker. The subjective state shift claims got stronger. The body still talks to the brain faster than language does, even after you adjust for every methodological objection. So the next time you catch yourself spiraling, anxious, foggy, stuck in a loop, notice where your body is before you reach for a mantra. Check the shape of your spine. Check where your breath is landing. Odds are, your body assumed a posture that matches the state. And the state is feeding off the posture, and the loop is spinning because nobody interrupted the physical side of the equation. One breath with a long, slow exhale, spine tall, chest open. That single adjustment speaks a language your brain has been fluent in since before you learned your first word. Affirmations arrive as foreign phrases your mind has to translate. The body speaks the mother tongue,